Now, John Boehner is very upset about the 4 Americans killed in Benghazi. They always say that as if it was Obama and Hillary Clinton's fault that those Americans died. They never actually make that charge. It's like an old Republican trick. It's what they used to do after 9/11. They would just say 9/11 and Iraq in the same sentence. And then they would say, we didn't say Iraq did 9/11. We just said them in the same sentence. And the Republicans keep saying, oh, those poor 4 Americans that died, Obama, Hillary Clinton. Okay, but the real so-called charge is that the White House didn't want to get blame afterwards, so they manipulated some talking points so that they wouldn't take political blame. That's a totally different thing and a much more minor thing, right? But always talking about the 4 Americans who died. Well, if that's the case, now you're not going to raise money off of them, are you? Now, we covered this issue before, and we told you that's, in fact, exactly what the Republican Party is doing now. Even the guy who they put in charge of the select committee on this in the House, Trey Gowdy, said no one should raise money off of this tragedy. The Republicans brazenly raised money off of it anyway. So John Boehner was understandably asked about it. Let's see if he was going to get moved off of his talking point on it.
Did the NRCC fundraise off of your efforts with the Select Committee?
Our focus is on getting the answers to those families who lost their loved ones, period.
But should the NRCC, they're fundraising off of it right now. Is that a...
Our focus is getting the truth for these 4 families and for the American people.
But the campaign committee, which you are very involved in, is fundraising off of this. Why is that happening?
Our focus is on getting the truth for the American people and these 4 families.
Mr. Speaker, if that's the case, then will you bend to some of the Democrats' demands on the way that the committee is structured to make it even more clear that it is not going to be a circus or political?
I had a conversation with the minority leader yesterday and made clear that this is a serious investigation.
So I told him what we're going to do, and he said, well, that's a sad day for us. And I said, correct. So, no, they're not going to change the committee. And, of course, they're going to continue to raise money off of it. That's the whole point, right? So they say, our focus is on these 4 dead Americans and all the money we can make off their back. Did I say that out loud? Right. So I love when politicians have no good answer and they just repeat the same talking point that their staffer wrote down for them. So the only thing that I have to add to this is that, look, is this about politics? Say it with me. Of course! But look, both sides, in this case, both sides do it, right? I'm sure the Democrats raised money off of some other tragedy, etc. So this whole thing of actually what bothers me the most is the media taking seriously the idea that it wouldn't be about politics. Like, they're like, oh, is this about politics? Of course it's about, he's a politician, that's his job. Of course it's about politics. So like the idea that they entertain that politicians actually do this because they really care. And they want to get to the bottom of what happened in Benghazi and which talking point was changed in which memo after the tragedy already happened. They're so concerned about that it is really a matter of principle, not about politics. Why are we having this conversation? The assumption should be, of course this is a political matter. Some of them are important political matters and some are cheap political tricks, which is exactly what this is. State that to him. Throw it in his face. Don't entertain the idea that he has any kind of principle on this issue. What difference does it make anyway? He doesn't answer your questions. All he does is repeat his talking point. At least I'm glad that they put his feet to the fire on the issue of fundraising on this because they are giant hypocrites and it's good to point that out.